that's really what I have you here for today, is to hear a little bit about that. And, when I saw some of those testimony TikToks, I was like, wow, I never would have guessed looking at your life now that that's what it was before.
Hmm.
And I'll let you speak to that, but I did see just some party lifestyle, addiction, depression, stuff like this. So I want to know like how you got into that, and then how Jesus saved you from it, and then what in your life has changed since then.
Sure. Yeah. So some of the videos that you saw were talking about alcohol and the things I dealt with that. At first, it turned into, or it was just kind of like I would just drink socially.
Mm,
I didn't see it as a problem. It wasn't a big deal to me. My family likes to drink. And so it was just a normal thing. And then it became very much an idol, especially when I hit college. I had a really hard time, just my life in general, have had a hard time making friends. And so I went to Point Park University. I live in Pittsburgh. I still live in Pittsburgh. And so I would commute, and there was a kind of a barrier then to make friends because there's people that were hanging out all the time, people that had roommates and everything. And I was this girl coming in on the Pat bus, you know what I mean? Like, who is this person? So,
yeah,
anyways, I started trying, and it's, in college, it's like you feel like you have a chance to be like a new person. At least that's how it was for me. It's like, oh, they don't know who I was before. I can be this brand new person
yep,
that I think that this is how college is supposed to be. So it kind of started that way of me just starting to like realize other people drank. And so I would be like, okay, yeah, let's go find. We would literally just hop on like a public bus and go find like another college that was throwing a party, and we would just like walk in, which is not safe, but we would do that all the time. And again,
yeah,
it was just very socially. And then it turned into, oh, this is what college is like. Like, I'm supposed to drink. I'm supposed to like hook up with these guys. I'm supposed to do all these things. And it just became, so I did go for dance. I was a dance
oh,
major.
that
Yeah.
makes
So,
sense.
yeah. Yeah. So I was a dance major. So it was really, physically a lot. I ended up moving to a dorm. No longer a commuter. So then I was around it all of the time. And dance used to be my idol, and then alcohol became my idol. And I dealt with it, and it wasn't very obvious in college. It was just mostly like, oh, Rudy's just in college and she's just
Yeah,
drinking and being a party girl, whatever. But it really wasn't until after college that became an issue. Whenever all of the friends that I had just made, they all went home. I was at home with my parents, who I love dearly. But I was by myself. My sister was still in college, and my older sister had moved out at the time. It got to the point that I was just very, very depressed. Being a dancer, I wasn't getting jobs. I was still living in Pittsburgh. I would go to New York and try to an audition and everything. But at this point, I was teaching dance, which I love, but I really had a passion for performing, and it wasn't happening. And all of my friends were gone, and so it became, how can I get alcohol? Like, it literally at any point of the day, it was like, I need to get through this day. And the only way that I'm going to get through it is if I drink. And so it started being like, I would just, and something, I don't know if it's like a chemical in my brain or something. It doesn't tell me when to stop. Like,
yeah.
hey,
I
like,
have that same chemical.
yeah, it's like, hey, maybe you should not have another one. And it would never be that. It would be like just more and more and more, to the point that I would just black out. I wouldn't like pass out. I would just black out and start saying things to people that I didn't know what I was saying. At first, people would tell me, then the next day, like what I said, and it made me literally like sick to my stomach. So it got to the point that if I did drink and I knew that I blacked out, I would tell people to not even tell me like what I said, and I would just apologize. It got really bad, and it started getting into my relationship with my parents. So I was living with them, and I would go to the liquor store. I would teach dance. I would go to the liquor store. I would get, a hand or whatever that was like a lemon flavor, and
Okay.
it was clear. So then I would put it in water, and I would literally like watch movies and stuff with my parents, them not knowing. And I'm 20, 21 plus years old. It's not like I can't have a
Yeah.
drink in front of my parents, but it got to the point of like I was sneaking it.
Yeah.
My parents would like find things and they would get upset. And I started going to therapy and everything. But nothing was really helping. And at this point, I didn't have a relationship with the Lord at all. Um,
So your family, were they believers or no?
we grew up going to a Presbyterian church, but we were like kind of in it, kind of out. And it was mostly like when, especially when I got older, if I did something bad, then I was like, oh, I have to go to church. You know what
Mm.
I mean?
Oh, a punishment.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, super healthy. I had a handle on it, or what I thought was a handle, when I met my husband a couple years later. And then I started noticing I wouldn't sneak a lot with him, but it'd be a little bit that, and he'd be like, what's going on? Or if I got too drunk, he'd be like, hey, you got a little out of hand there. And there was one particular time that was really, really bad, that my dad actually was like, you need to go to rehab. Like, this is
Mhm.
how bad it's getting, and it's going to get in your relationship with, at the time he was my fiance, and I have a stepdaughter. And so he was like, this is bad, you need to go to rehab. And I refused. I was like, no, let me try out church,
Mm.
and see
Yeah.
how it goes. And to make a long story short, that was the only thing that quote unquote worked, was Jesus.